Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second episode of the series Chess Run. In this episode, we'll play more games and try to maybe reach 600 or 700, depending on how well we perform. So let's jump right into it. Okay, first game we're gonna play with the black pieces. As I've said before in the previous video, we're just gonna stick to the same concepts. Develop your pieces and try to this is just a free pawn. And if I don't capture it right now, my opponent is gonna push. I'd have to retreat or go somewhere else. I don't see what this does, to be honest. Just capture the pawn. Um, Now my opponent is trying to place a pawn in the center. This is something you should do in the opening. I don't understand the reason of g4, just giving away a pawn. I'm just going to do the same. First of all, it's about placing a pawn in the center, but also preventing this pawn from advancing any further. Yeah, I just moved my bishop. Right now, I think, yeah, so this is a very typical mistake done by beginners. Just pushing pawns too carelessly and for no reason. And like for example, this side, aside from the fact that white has already lost a pawn, castling on this side could be quite dangerous because the king is quite exposed, and here it's also starting to become more exposed. So I don't see how white is gonna bring the king to safety, and I don't see any attack. I could just play a6 and prevent this pawn from harassing my knight, which is what I'm gonna do. Now I could push one square or two, two, and then activate my bishop. But I'll just strike the center immediately because if they capture, I'll capture back with this knight. And now I like my position. I already have a knight in the center. Even if my opponent exchanges, my knight could land somewhere else, could land here as well. Um, yeah, I think I feel pretty good about my chances for many reasons, obviously. I have two figures developed already. I have a pawn in the center. My opponent has none of these things, and this is a bad sign. Um, yeah, this. I mean, now you're kind of developing the knight, and the knight has no other square, I guess. But the knight is blocking the bishop. I think I'm just gonna do this now. Attack the queen. I know I've said you shouldn't move your piece many times um, at the beginning of the game. You're wasting time basically, but I think we have plenty of time. And now I activate my bishop. Not only activate it, I set up a devilish trap. I hope some of you can see it. And now my opponent has successfully blundered a checkmate in two, because this is check, they capture, I will just capture back, and this is checkmate. Yeah, this is what happens when you start pushing your pawns too carelessly. Yeah, I have nothing more to say about this game. My opponent didn't really develop the pieces, exposed the king as we saw, didn't castle, wasted a lot of time pushing these pawns, and then for some reason just like started attacking with just a queen. Okay, game two. I'm just gonna stick to e4 first. I mean, you could also push the queen's pawn. You could also do that. It's a matter of personal preference. I play both, but right now I enjoy this one more. I'm gonna stick to what I've played in the previous episode. Um, Develop the knight, attack the pawn. This is like quite conventional, and why fix it if it's not broken, right? Yeah, okay. So this is uh, the the Philidor defense, I believe. I'm not sure about the name. or how to pronounce it. Um, Basically, my opponent is attacking my pawn is in exchange. They're mirroring what I'm doing. I could capture and then they capture back. I push, they go back, and then I push my pawn once again, and then I have a nice in the center and like a very solid position. All of this again, it's not like it's something intuitive. I learned it because I had to memorize some of these openings and strategies eventually. But I'm just gonna deal with the threat as it is for now. I'm gonna protect my pawn, see what my opponent is gonna do about it. Uh, Protect and activate the second knight. On the next move, I'll probably move my bishop, castle, and you know the whole spiel. Um, yeah, okay. And now my opponent is trying to be a little bit sneaky about what they want to do. So they don't only activate the piece, they also threaten my knight, which is protecting the pawn. Uh, you could push, protect, but again, pushing would mean that this bishop has no escape or is not going to be activated or is not going to be quite active in the game. I'm just going to play this move, and I will show you why this works. I hope my opponent captures because I will capture back and I will show you a very typical position that emerges from these kind of openings or structures. Okay, they're thinking, I mean, there are a lot of options, I guess, for black. Black could castle, which is a nice move. Black could just protect the e5 pawn with the knight or push the pawn. I I personally, I mean, I'm hoping for bishop takes knight because there are some nice tactics, but let's see. Okay, this is a quite reasonable move. I'm just gonna castle now and invite this trouble or this invite this exchange and capture on e4 once again. Um, Perhaps we're not going to end up doing it, so I might as well just tell you how it works in case you haven't spotted the tactic. If they capture, I will capture back. They take here. I would have two moves in this position, or um, I think maybe even more, but I'm a big fan, huge fan of bishop takes f7. It's not a free bishop because once the king takes, we said we're going to capture the bishop with this pawn back because this file would be open and our queen would land on d5 and it's a fork. It's check and it's threatening the knight that could potentially land on e4. Long story short, we're not going to lose the pawn. We just capture here and then the queen comes back to capture the knight and on time because it's a check at the same time. Yeah, let's see what my opponent is going to do. Okay, that's a move. I think my opponent would like to avoid all of this because now capture back. Um, I think um, I don't know if it works or whatever, but I I would have expected my opponent to just castle by now. I could jumping with the knight doesn't really bring anything. I mean, you might hope to fork the rook and the queen, but the black could just castle and then the rook will just protect this pawn. There's nothing. So I'm just gonna now push the pawn, be a little bit sneaky about this, still invite some trouble. And of course, I could immediately go for d4, but I don't want to be pinned because this pin I'm always annoyed by it to be honest because it would mean that black could jump in with the knight, put more pressure on f3, and then I'm just gonna spend the whole game trying to get rid of this annoying pin, and I don't like that. Um, Now I have plenty of choices. This move took away the square from the knight, so the knight cannot come back. So if I play my queen here, threatening a checkmate with this battery, this is what we call a battery. Now it's checkmate. Um, Previously, it was not possible because the knight would have landed on d6, attacking the bishop, protecting and escaping this threat. Now it doesn't work, of course, because the pawn is standing there. If the knight comes back or tries to retreat and protect at the same time, it's just up for grabs. I could capture it with the knight or with the bishop, doesn't matter really. Maybe with the bishop would be even stronger. I'm not sure. No, knight, the queen would step away and protect f7. I mean, we're winning a piece at least. But I would capture with the knight because then the knight is also attacking. Now I've successfully captured a knight, and you can see all of this happened because black was too, I don't know, focused on starting an attack or trying to be sneaky about uh, capturing one of my pawns, and black actually forgot what's more important, which is king's safety. And now, yeah, the position is falling apart, of course. Yeah, I personally, I mean, I could check and then exchange, or I could just, yeah, this move, it doesn't really mean anything, but for some reason, it's talking to me. It's very tempting, but we can we can stick to the plan, which is just develop your pieces, and once your rooks are connected, then you know that you've successfully finished developing. Now, what I haven't seen or haven't spotted is f5. Luckily, my opponent did not see it, and went on to play this. I don't know what this move is. Maybe they want to push and then activate the bishop this way. Now it's just a question of time. I mean, this king cannot go anywhere since both rooks um, have moved. Now black cannot castle, that's for sure. And it's just a question of time before we have to pile up the pieces and start an attack. And it's gonna be a checkmate before you know it. Yeah, this move does not really achieve anything. I mean, this is just an empty threat. Now, now usually you don't give away two pieces in exchange for a rook. But in that case, I would like to do it because I want to simplify. I've mentioned this already. If you're winning, if you're up material, you would like, or it would make your life much easier if you just exchange, because your opponent will eventually run out of figures on the board. You'll still have a little bit of pieces on the board because you have more, and then it becomes an easier task to win or to play because your opponent doesn't have a lot of counterplay. Of course, this is like a different kind of threat because I could capture here as well. But for now, I'm focused on capturing on f7. If they take with the rook, take with the bishop, king takes, maybe then I capture with the queen on h7. It looks scary for black, very scary. I mean, it's already lost, but black just continues with this idea that doesn't mean anything. I mean, this bishop now has a nice diagonal, but it's not supported by any piece. And there's another, uh, let's say, rule in chess. If you want to start an attack, if you would like to know that your attack is successful, you need at least three pieces. I mean, two pieces are sufficient to deliver a checkmate because one could deliver the check and the other one could protect or support. Um, yeah, in that case, this move, I mean, it's just a really bad move, of course, because the knight could jump and fork the pieces, and in no time, black will be running out of moves. Now, I'm trying to think if it might be possible to deliver a checkmate in this position. We could try this out, or we could just play it safe and capture. I'll capture, of course, they'll capture with the queen, because if they capture with the king, it's checkmate. And I said the position looks scary. What I wanted to say before, I was hoping the king would land on f7 somehow, because I would like to push and now open this file for my rook and just um, start bringing everything basically into the attack. Now I could capture, but there's a nice thing about um, checks, that they can be what we call Zwischenzug. Zwischenzug is a intermezzo, like a move you could play in between that would not change anything for you. It would just be, you would be basically winning more time, gaining more time. Because I deliver a check, the knight is not going anywhere. I'm going to capture it. Before that, I'll just give a check. The knight cannot somehow land there. That's why this move works. If the knight, if the piece that we are hoping to capture afterwards could come back to block the check, then these moves usually do not work in that case. So you have to be careful. Um, yeah, I mean, this is, as I said, it's one piece trying to do some damage. It's not going to happen. I'm just going to stack my rooks and check, win the queen. I'm giving up 2 rooks for the queen, yes, but at the end of the line, I'll just slide in with the queen, deliver a check, and it's a skewer. I win the rook on b8. Or I could try being a little bit more greedy and try to weave some checkmate net. Let's see if I... No, what is this? Okay, yeah, let's just keep going. Yeah, I've said that you should never give up, but I think this is just yeah, checkmate. Yeah, this is the back rank checkmate. I would like to say GG, but I don't think it was the greatest game. Moving on. Huge chess tactic. I see that we're gonna play with the black pieces once again. Um, yeah, you have a lot of choices. As I said, you could place a pawn in the center. This is what we call, like, this is the classical variation, let's say, that could lead to the Spanish or the Italian or many, many, many openings. Or you could just push this pawn. I'm just gonna go for this. What I wanted to say, but I forgot that you have to make the first move as fast as possible. You could also jump with the knights, and it's also legit. My opponent, I think, is gonna like try to cheese me with the same concept. It's always the same. It doesn't even make any sense. Um, I mean, this move makes sense, but I have the feeling that they, yeah, you see, this is absolutely unnecessary, let's say. And I'm not gonna fall for that. I'm not taking here, or I'm not capturing here. Um, I think an interesting line. We can go back to it at the end, but yeah, my opponent now would like to capture. This is a pin, but I can just easily activate my bishop and break the pin. Now, jumping with the queen, jumping around, the queen is a very valuable piece. You'd have to wait a little bit before you start um, working with it, let's say. And now I have a fork, check. The queen has to go back. Queen is gonna run out of moves eventually. Uh, yeah, this move, I mean, this knight looks scary and it should not remain where it is. But it's also taking away the square from the knight. I'll just go back. I'm gonna just jump or maybe play my bishop, activate my last piece, castle long. Or since my opponent is kind of aggressive, I think you could just punish this as quickly as possible. But I'm not gonna let them castle first. Or so white could push the pawn, harass my bishop. I would just go back and then play queen d7 and castle. Okay, it doesn't matter. This bishop now is protecting the f7 square in case I castle. This pawn will not remain unprotected. It will remain protected, sorry. And yeah, I think so. This move now, again, it's I've explained it in the previous video. This is how you win a tempo, because now I'm attacking this knight, and I'm gonna castle. And white cannot just continue developing. White has to do something about this. And the thing about this knight, it's oddly placed. It cannot be protected, at least not from where I see it. So the knight has to retreat either to g1 or to f2. Cannot come forward because we just capture. So this was basically like losing time, in my opinion. Now I could just castle afterwards. Sorry, oops. And it's gonna be GG very soon. Of course, both knights, I just realized that they're oddly placed, and now I castle. Of course, white could technically castle here. It's like committing suicide, but everything is. I was just saying that. I think I'm just gonna try to cheese my opponent, and if they capture here, no, they did not. What I was hoping for that. Okay, we can go back to it afterwards maybe, but I was hoping they would capture. Oops, no, I was hoping they would capture here basically, and then I capture with a pawn, and my rooks could just, or maybe the second rook, this one remains on the h file, and then it looks, not only it looks scary, it's just like borderline lost. Now my opponent blundered the bishop, and I'm just gonna play it nice and slow. I could still fork like on the next move, but I'll get back to the same concept. Basically, chess is not about winning figures. Chess is about delivering a checkmate. This could be, it's not that scary because I have the knight and the king. It's safe. I didn't push the pawn. This is another thing. Pushing pawns in general is like something you only do when it's like you have a very good reason to do that. Now I'm just going to give a check with my bishop because the knight was attacking the bishop, but now the bishop is also protecting. So the bishop has two roles, protecting and defending. And now I'm just going to jump with my queen, and this is a checkmate. This pattern of checkmate is called, I think, the Boudin's mate, when you deliver a checkmate with two bishops. Let's see if my opponent spots it. I mean, even if they do, I don't think there's much to do about it. I think the move that might keep them in the game is to just jump back with the knight to protect, but I could capture. Or I might have something crazier, and perhaps you see it as well. I could just take. And if they take, I'm not going to take back with a check. I'm just delivering a checkmate on h2. So there were two checkmate threats. And usually, if you have several checkmate threats, there is no way to stop them all at the same time, because in chess you only play one move at a time. And now my opponent is going to resign, of course, once they realize that it's over. Winning 3 games apparently is not enough to cross the or to reach 600. So I guess we would have to wait till the next video to get to 600. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something you could use in your games and maybe apply in general and integrate to your openings. That was it. Like and subscribe if you would like to see more of this. I look forward to making more of these videos. It's a lot of fun. See you next time.